Hi there and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. My name's Anna Pirelli. The comments that you see here are my views, beliefs, opinions, and sometimes they are not even my fully formed views, beliefs and opinions. However, they are my understandings. Please do retain an open mind and reflect on any of the content and your comfort levels. If your views differ, please feel free to leave a comment. Also remember, it is possible to disagree in respectful ways. My way is not necessarily your way and vice versa. You might also find that some of the content on this playlist in regard to spiritual or universal laws, it resonates with you, meaning it feels right to you, while other laws may not feel right or they may not feel comfortable. If this is the case, the information is either not right for you or it is not right for you right now, and it might never be right for you at any given time. It really doesn't matter. As an earthy and practical person, I can put my hand up with all honesty and say that I have at different times had the same feelings about some of the content in here, and with some of them I still have a level of skepticism within my viewpoints, but I choose to retain an open mind about the things that I don't fully understand for a few reasons. Firstly, because I believe it would be supreme arrogance to think that we all know all of the answers while we have a body, and because what is right for one of us is not necessarily right or suitable for all of us, and I choose to respect the differences. Please do leave your opinions, beliefs. Feel free to argue the points in a respectful way with any of the content on the slides and even my interpretations. And if you feel that you can add clarity around some of the content, we would all love to see it. Thank you. For now though, let's explore the laws.
All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. Contained within these laws, or conditions, is the true nature of matter. Knowledge of these laws has an effect upon the mental urges. Mind is the builder. Stay in full mindfulness of the application of universal law as related to self and to others, and know that in love all life is given, in love all things move. In giving one attains, in giving one acquires. In giving, love becomes the fulfillment of desire, guided and directed in the ways that bring the more perfect knowledge of self as related to the universal, all-powerful, all-guiding, all divine influence in life. Love is life. When we go back, merge with the God source, in some infinitesimal but profound way, we expand the mind of God. Our higher self always points the best and most perfect way, and it is ours to listen and choose or reject what we hear. It does not blame, but patiently tries again to show the perfect way, the loving way. All of creation pushes forth. We are ever becoming. Identity ever remains. Universal law number 76. The law of radiation. This expression of divine activity is one of the most practical utility. Understanding radiatory or emanatory condition of all substances as a specific point in evolution allows one to approach reality. It is the outer effect produced by all forms in all kingdoms when their internal activity has reached such a stage of vibratory activity that the confining walls of the form no longer form a prison, but permit the liberation of the subjective essence. Liberation means the ability of any conscious atom to pass out of one sphere of energized influence into another of a higher vibration of a larger and wider expanse of conscious realization.
Yet another mind-boggling amount of verbosity in this passage that could be simplified from where I sit. Don't know about you, but either way, the passage does make some sense to me, once you chew through it and digest all the words. So what I've interpreted from this, and of course you may have a different opinion, is that divine activity, well, yes, things are always going to be in a perpetual state of motion, and we of course have no control over the activity, especially the movement of the tides, the solar system, the universe, all of this kind of stuff, I would agree that nothing appears to be random. In fact, I think it's a bit miraculous, and this is one of the reasons why I actually do believe in a creator and a spirit, not just some random spark that has happened without some kind of concept behind it, some kind of pre-planning. This is one of the reasons why I have faith in the creator. It just seems, I'm not saying I don't believe in everything that science puts up, but certainly where they go, oh, you know, it was all just a accident, we all evolved from amoebas or whatever. Yeah, no, okay, well, you've got no proof on that anyway. It's just a theory that the scientists have got, but they actually don't have any evidence base to really back that up anyway. So I prefer to have my own theories and beliefs that there is a creator and there is this divine activity, and that things like natural disasters, that there is a period of renewed growth. I mean, I speculated on that a little bit, and I actually even did a bit of Googling, because I was like, well, you know, is there a period of regrowth after tsunamis? I actually don't know. Certainly they're devastating. And I'm not talking about the impact or on the loss of life. I'm talking about the environmental and trying to be big picture here. In Australia, if we have bushfires, the bushfires, certainly they are harmful and they do take life and destroy property and that kind of stuff, and it is devastating for people. But at the same time, some of the species need that bushfire to actually be able to regenerate. And by that, I'm talking about some plants. Apparently they will only, I can't think of the word, but I'm sure you know what I mean. It is through bushfire that the seed pods open up and the seeds get dispersed. So I can see how that would fit in with this law anyway. Volcanic eruptions, of course, they're very frightening and destructive, but they also impact positively on the soil, because if you go to the areas where there is active volcanoes or where there have been volcanoes, the soil is able to sustain a lot of the plant and animal life afterwards, so I can see the benefits there. Cyclones and floods definitely change the landscape. Actually, people outside of Australia might not know what a cyclone is. If my understanding is correct, I think it's lower scale than a hurricane, but not a tornado. They can change the face of the environment by the shifting of topsoil, because we're a fairly arid country, but at the same time too, when the cyclones come through, they bring a lot of water with them into the arid areas, and that regenerates all the plant and animal life there as well. If we have droughts, obviously it has dire consequences on our local fauna, and I would imagine that's the same everywhere. So bearing all of this in mind, I do agree that divine activity in any form is of practical use. It's useful, it's helpful somewhere. Okay, even if they shift the topsoil somewhere else, it's just a movement, isn't it, really? It just moves part of the planet to another part of the planet. Anyway, let's move on and unpack the rest of this. So when it comes to the conversation about emanations and emissions, well, you know, as usual, I do my little bit of digging. Emanations isn't a word that's in the dictionary, but emissions are, and presumably this is what the paragraph is meant to say. It is a synonym with the word radiate. So the idea is that we understand that activity is a matter of energy that is being emitted or radiated, I imagine, and that all substances, and I guess we're talking about atomic substances, emit an energetic vibration. Look, all of this stuff makes sense to me. I just think it's very wordy. And I also think that we're starting to tread on ground again that is probably a bit wobbly, and I may be punching above my pay grade, you know. The bottom line is, I think, that our approaches to reality are affected by our capacity to understand energy as being a product of divine activity. I think so. If you and I were sitting across the table right now, I'd be saying to you, feel free to put your own thoughts in, feel free to interject. I'm inviting you now, please leave a comment, and feel free to at least turn this particular video into a two-sided conversation, because I think there's a lot of ambiguity with it, but clarity at the same time, if that makes sense. So as for the rest of this paragraph, I'm just going to say, I understand, my personal understandings are that energy is energy, and I do agree that it is produced in all forms throughout life. I'm not convinced it is the effect produced once a person has reached a specific stage of vibration. Okay, that's the big clarity that I've got. I think this is one of, not clarity, lack of clarity, perhaps confusion, because basically I would imagine in some circumstances that raising of the vibration or a specific stage is important when we're talking about people and light beings, or what we call the beings of light. Some people call them angels, the shining ones, that kind of thing. And in fact, when I reread the paragraph as saying that we can raise our entire vibration and then send or emit energy from one person being to the other, because the aura is spherical in shape. Okay, look, we're talking about distance healing there, and I don't know if it's because of the aura being a specific shape, but absolutely, yes, I believe in my observations that I have been witness to energetic healing and the transfer of vibration. At the same time, though, I'm just going to put some thoughts here, okay? The passage where it refers to the outer effect produced and, you know, blah, 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 this reminds me, I sort of get this visual of a volcano being a mass of energy, and we know that, you know, we all have watched enough videos now or documentaries to know that a volcano is this great big mass of internalized bubbling energy that continues to bubble until it erupts and explodes outwardly. So the inference I take from that is that all forms of life will have an internal vibratory activity. And actually, interestingly, I associate the lava and the fire with passion, renewal and growth anyway. Let me pause on this for a moment. I'll just press pause. I'm going to share a personal story again, because I think when we talk about that business of the volcano and the breaking free, you know, where the energy becomes internalized and that kind of stuff, and then there's this explosive release. I do recall many years ago, and it was, it was a story that I told my son, who was present as I was. I was at work and I'd taken my children to work, actually, in some ways regrettably, but either way there was an elderly man that passed away. Now, that's not the best environment obviously to have your children in, but where I'm going with this is my son was fairly young and he was a little sad, and he expressed to me, you know, as you would, you know, Mum, I'm really sad that man's died. I think he's died. And I thought, well, yeah, I think he has too. But I was having that internal thing of, do I confirm this to a child or not? And then I kind of got this flash of inspiration, if you like, because we live in the bush, or we used to live in the bush. I had found him a snake skin. A snake had shedded its skin when I was out bush, and I picked it up and brought it home and given it to him because I knew he'd love it, and he did. Right? But anyway, it came to me as this inspirational moment, which I like to think is being divinely inspired, where I was able to say to him, yes, it is sad. It's very sad for people when their loved ones pass away. But you know what? Sometimes, this is what I said to him, and he understood it. I said, sometimes what happens is that a person's spirit, that light inside of them, I said, it gets so big because it's done everything that it needs to do in this lifetime, and it's learned its lessons. I said, sometimes that soul gets so big, it's got to shed the body because it's outgrown it. I can't believe where this came from. I actually love this, right? And he was like, oh, okay. And I said, yes. You know, he said, but it's sad, isn't it, though, still, even if that person has outgrown their skin? And I said, yes. I said, but you know what? I said, just because they've outgrown their skin doesn't mean that they're gone, mate, you know, because I am an Aussie. I said, the thing is, once they lose their body, I said, they just can't speak to us in the same way anymore. I said, they don't have a voice anymore. I said, so we have to kind of change the way that we speak and listen to them. And I said, and that means that because I said, we can talk to them out loud and they'll hear us. And I said, but when we think of them, they'll hear us too. And I said, and then when we want to hear them, I said, we have to change, like the radio, tune it in so that we can feel them when they're around us. I said, because they will speak to us in different ways. I said, and we'll get like touches, we might feel it on our arms or whatever. So anyway, I guess the description that I've just offered to you is that the physical death would actually meet, as per my description, a liberation and a radiation. I put a question mark after that. And it certainly would meet the definition of the ability to pass out of one sphere to a larger and wider expanse of realisation. And so does astral travel as it happens, I think. We rise our vibration and we go upwards. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling here. I'm going to wait for you guys to let me know your thoughts. If there's anything about what I've said that's resonated or not, leave a comment. Let's have a discussion. Anyway, I'm going to catch you later and crack on with the next universal laws and try and get them ready for you. In the meantime, have a wonderful, glorious day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.